Hello and welcome back to Remnant 2. Last time we ended up getting to the Chamber of the Faithless, and we've cleared all the dungeons leading up to here, so we are now at the final boss. But like I said last time, he's going to give us a choice to either fight him or we can kill Nimue, and we're going to go with killing Nimue. Just because it is the option I don't think a lot of people take.
Traitor, or a wayward child in need of suckling. Tell me, who dares disturb the one true king's solitude? Speak, or lose your tongue.
Is that the guy who does Shao Kahn? Because it sounds a lot like Shao Kahn. I'm a loyal servant, Your Majesty.
I have heard as much from traitorous tongues. Filthy lies! Be warned that I suffer no fools. If you wish to live, prove your loyalty by slaying the duplicitous lesser goddess, Numnue. Or raise your pathetic hand against me, and your mortal suffering ends here and now. Which will it be?
I would be honored to serve, but I have questions. Actually, no, we'll do, what is my task, Majesty, because I'll just continue us.
Numnue, the Lady of the Lake, confidant turned traitor. Even now she is bound by her treachery and my shackles. Find her in her secluded prison tower. Kill her, traveler, and make certain that it is neither quick nor painless. Make her writhe in pain. Do that, and I shall reward you. Fail or refuse, and you shall be the one writhing in pain.
I'll see what I can do.
The insect thinks it stands a chance. How amusing. Know that you are little more than a pest, flittering about at the feet of a goddess. That is why I shall deign to temporarily grant you the power to do my bidding. To that end, take this. Your orders are clear. Do not return until the deed is done. I have spoken. Take your leave now.
Yeah, in the end, he still just turns on us when we kill Nimue. But you do get... If you kill Nimue, you get an item. If you talk to Nimue and she convinces you to turn and just kill the one true king, then you get a different item. So there's incentive to do this multiple ways. Guess we just go Forlorn Coast. And this is all made that much easier since we had already unlocked this door. Otherwise we have to make our way around and down. It's easier just to go this way.
A strange creature awash in a strange land. How curious. Prithee, tell tell? Have you come to do the one true king's bidding? Or to chase the thread of fate that has brought us each to this moment?
One true king wants you dead.
So it is. For even a goddess must answer for her actions, lofty though her intentions may have been. Yet things are not so simple as they seem. You and I and these kingdoms twain are at a crossroads. And it is you alone who holds the compass. I am Namiwe, goddess of the Fae, lady of the lake, seer, and counselor to the one true king. Or so I was. And you? Who are you, strange one?
One who's been tasked with killing you.
So the hour of reckoning has come at last. Very well. The Mad King wishes you to kill me out of vengeance for my part in the betrayal that cursed his mind. As for myself, I wish to be spared, that I might one day remedy the ills that I unwittingly unleashed upon this world. And also for the king to be put out of his misery.
Blah blah blah, less talking, more dying.
Your irreverence speaks to the empty void within. Though I am the one in chains, 'tis you who are enslaved by your own lack of care. You have my pity, traveler. Though it will doubtless fail to move your frozen heart, I beseech you once more. Consider the greater repercussions of the choice before you. Like this derelict lighthouse of the Dran, there was once a beacon of hope that guided the Fae ever on. Yet that light need not stay dampened. Will you light the way? Have you the courage to set right what the gods themselves have set asunder? Decide, strange one. Duty or hope?
Time to die, lady.
So be it. I am not afraid of the world to come. I regret only that I was unable to salvage this once great kingdom. Alas, it was not to be. Do what must be done, and make quick work of it. Goodbye. Goodbye, sweet Fae. Goodbye, my king. Until we meet again across the distant horizon. Now, strange one, do it now.
Don't worry, King's dying right after, so... And realistically, when you look at it, Nimwe's actions caused this. She, if you talk to her and listen to all her dialogue, she admits that she conspired to enchant the dagger that was supposed to kill the one true king. But, because we did that quest in the base game that's like, hey, figure out who did it. And it's of the 3 council members. It turns out at the last minute she was like, oh, I actually kind of don't want to kill him. And just knocked him out, and that's partially what screwed him up. So this is all her fault. And her being like, oh, it was misguided. Really, if the One True King died and she was left alive, would she make things better, or would more misguided actions come of her, I'd say, wishy-washy ways and end up hurting these people more? With both her and the One True King dead, if the Red Prince is alive, he takes over, which, take that as you will, but otherwise, it's an opportunity for these people to maybe figure things out on their own. Or someone else will rise up and take power. In the end, it's kind of just whatever happens, happens. I do like that though with the writing is Nimue she isn't without fault. It's not like, oh, she's just some innocent goddess who just got roped up in all this. No, it's her actions that caused all this. It's her fault, and it becomes your decision to be like, hey, does she deserve to die? Does she get a second chance? Realistically, the loot is neither here nor there. You get a different amulet, it's whatever. Where are my summons? Probably stuck back there. There is some issues with, I guess, like pathing for NPCs. I've seen that in a few areas. The pathing's a little broken. Especially summons will just kind of float and be like, I don't know what to do. She did.
Insect has returned.
I have news.
A choice has been made. A fate sealed. Tell me, and pray that your words are sufficient to save your insignificant life.
Deed is done.
She is dead. The lady is dead. The one soul who could faintly understand the weight of my crown and power. My former advisor and friend. She is dead. Killed. Good. Yes, you have done well, traveler. You killed a goddess. Most impressive. Your reward is my respect. And a swift death. After all, it is only a matter of time until you set your sights higher still. Treachery shall not be allowed! Death to traitors! Make your peace, filthy mortal! But first, your death may wait a moment. Now that I look closer, there, upon your putrid person. A precious ring, meant to grace the beloved finger of one and one alone. The audacity! That you would appear before me equipped as such speaks to insolence beyond the likes of even the savage Fae! Such insolence comes at a price. Death and agony, rot and decay. That is all your puny future holds now, mortal. Come! I shall not sully my throne with your unworthy blood! Drop in my rain of blood. A lost whisper in the echo of eternity. Return to the nothingness from whence you came!
Yeah, we actually got a unique interaction there. I think it was because of the Ring of Grace. There's a few items you can get, and each one that you have, like I know the Red King's crown, or Red Prince's crown is one of them, where if you wear it, you get a different response from him. And I think we get a different weapon depending on if we break his hammer or not. So I'm trying to not break it. Some people say what you get depends on if you kill him while he's in this hammer phase or not. I don't know fully. Oh, I didn't notice one of the guys, like, breaks loose and stabs him. That's kind of cool. It's interesting how all the bodies are Fae, but no Dran. Yeah, this boss fight's a lot tougher if you don't know what you're doing, but having done this a few times, it's kind of like Annihilation, where you just get used to it. Alright, let's get him now. I can't remember which Agony Spike is. If that's the gun or not. Yep, so now, for all intents and purposes, the story's done. I think we can just reset the area for the scribe to come back, or we have to go get him. We'll make our way to his spawn point down by the sewer and see if he's there. And that'll reset the area. We don't have the item to open the side door to get the paper heart. Like I said, it's not worth it. It's such a trash heart. It gives you 300% healing, and then for every 10% you heal, it gets like a charge and it'll drain 10% or something. And getting kills removes a charge without costing health. It is just the weirdest relic. I can't fathom how to get it to function without just killing you. It seems like it's just like, oh yeah, if you get attacked by a mob, use it. Otherwise, don't touch it. And I doubt this guy will have anything different to say.
That's her name. Strange and beautiful. Just like her.
Yeah, they don't really change. I think because these guys are yellow marked, you can just kill them. But I don't see a point. I did it once, and then they just aggro every time you return. Yeah, so he's still here, so we have to tell him King's dead. And then he'll head back.
I bid you speak quietly, please.
I bring news.
Shall I fetch my quill?
Killed the one true king, permanently.
Killed you? I mean, you, of course, you. I expected nothing less from someone so magnificent, so capable. Ever have I supported you from right here? Do you realize the magnitude of what you've done? You have freed the Fae. This means I can return to the castle and shed these foul garments.
Please don't take off your clothes.
If you insist, I've a long jaunt to the castle at any rate. No throne in this realm remains unoccupied for long, and whoever succeeds the king will most certainly be in need of a diligent, esteemed, loyal scribe.
Will the Fae be okay with a king?
Who's to say? The one true king did not believe us capable of ruling ourselves on account of our lesser natures. But he was not Fae, not truly. How could he possibly understand our minds, our desires, our potential? And now we are, at long last, unshackled. That is utterly, veritably free. Thanks to you.
That's all for now.
Keep your eyes and ears open. Farewell.
Yep, so now we gotta head back, and nothing will really change. He'll just be standing there. I don't think he sells anything new because there's very few items actually in this DLC. But we'll get him there just because it's cool and you can have him and the Red Prince. But I think those are the only two that can ever show up in the throne room. And he should be right... Well, he should have been right here. Oh, well, whatever. It's not that big a deal. Like I said, nothing really changes. You talk to him. And he's just like, oh, hey, cool, thanks. He still just sells, like, the basic Dran items, or basic Losum items. The green potion, I think a gull quill thing. Nothing noteworthy. It's a little bit of a bummer, but I wasn't really expecting him to be a fancy vendor. He's not down here. But yeah, that door is where you go if you kept the medallion, but it's not worth it. I don't think that's bad to have weird or maybe not the most useful relics because someone will figure something out, hopefully. But I do kind of wish we could get a glimpse into the mind of the devs to be like, okay, what was your intent behind this item? Yeah, and this way is just that door. Forgot to mention it. Well, let's head back to Ward 13. Let's quick check, because I don't think... Okay, yeah, so the guy didn't spawn. I just wanted to make sure that the Duran from the spooky haunted mansion didn't show up here. Brabus shouldn't have anything. Oh yeah, he had the steel scythe. That's the starting melee for the ritualist if you pick that class. Alright, what do we get? Good, we got the gun I wanted, Monarch.
Okay, we're done.
So this is a cool weapon to show off. Also, what do we get? Burden of the Departed. Reduces relic charges by a third, increases all damage by 10%. And then Broken Heart, innate 50% speed use, or use speed on use sets your current health to 50% of max health over 0.25 seconds. So if you're using the ring that cuts your health to half, well, you get your health. But at that point, why are you comboing those? So, this gun's pretty neat. Then, we just pop this. And we can even go like this. And that gives us infinite ammo for a little bit. For like 20 seconds. You can see the power here. As long as you have a kind of full magazine, you can chain this almost infinitely. And since it penetrates, you can shoot through other targets, you can do a lot of neat stuff with it. Just call that back. I can see people doing some pretty cool stuff with this gun. But, yeah, it's that, or if you beat him the other way, you get a hammer, which... it's a hammer. Nothing really special. But now that this DLC's done, if I'm just gonna do my final thoughts, if you don't care about that, cool. You can dip at this point. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, it helps out the channel a lot. For everybody else, final thoughts on the DLC. It's short, but for $10, I think it's fine. The main kind of overworld is where I think a lot of work went in. Which, this isn't me being like, oh, everything else was bad. No. I'm looking at it from a, what models and assets had to be uniquely made. And there's a few tiles in like the sewer dungeons that are new. But it's generally the overworld that looks like it was, by and large, one big new area. A lot of new assets. Some building stuff might have been recycled. It was kind of lacking on new enemies. We did get a few bosses, but by and large, it was green spitty guy, purple spitty guy, witch, and double spearman. Then, of course, for bosses, we had boss spearman, one true king, and that's really it, because otherwise we just had another witch, who was just a big witch with a different melee weapon. It was a 4-pronged anchor instead of 2. Weapons, I think weapons were really sparse, same as armor. There's only 2 sets of armor you get, which was the Zealot set, and then the Red Prince armor, which is like the Red Guard or something. That's all it is for armor. Rings and amulets, there's a good amount. Some of them are even put into Yeisha and Nerud, which I do appreciate, having at least a little extra put into those areas to be like, hey, we didn't just dump everything into this and be explicitly this zone. It's nice. Mutators were kind of lacking, but at the same time, it is hard to kind of come up with new mutators. And like I said before, I predict, since this DLC was centered around corrosive, with the ones for both primary and secondary, these fetid wounds ones, and the tainted blade, what I think will happen is my guess is we're going to get our next 2 DLCs will be Yeisha and Nerud. Yeisha will be fire, Nerud will be shock, and then that's it, because as much as I would like to have Resum come back and get cold damage, I don't think they're going to do it. Or if they do, it is going to be a kind of year 2 DLC setup where we get cold damage, and then I don't know what else. They could maybe be like, hey, year 2 is like 2 big DLCs, and we get that, and for the story, or hey, we're gonna go back to old locations, we're going back to ROM, we're gonna bring back Radiation, we're gonna do something wild like that. We're going back to Courses. Admittedly, I would hate going back to Courses. I hated that place. Some of the bosses were cool, but just the burrowing enemies just pissed me off all the time. But this DLC, not bad. The story is okay. It isn't the strongest. The archetype, I think, is really good. I think it's really strong. I think there's a lot of versatility. You can pair that up with a lot of classes. I do wonder what the next DLCs will hold if we're getting additional archetypes, because where do you go? Do you have a more dedicated buffer? And in that case, what is stopping that from just being Alchemist 2? Because Alchemist kind of falls into the buffer class, and so we're in this weird kind of where do you draw the line kind of deal. I could see maybe trying to make a case for like a melee class, but that's going to be a real tough class to utilize. Unless the only way I could see it working is something to do with like melee damage gets big buffs, and then your ability is, if you play Destiny 2, you know, the Hunter arc subclass where they get the disco stick and they spin that around slapping people. I think that would be the option. Otherwise, I don't know. Going with that... Oh, the weapon mods. Now I'm thinking about it, the weapon mods. They're okay. I do genuinely believe that... Where is it? Where's my funky cloud? Creeping Mist. This has a lot of potential. If you are a support character playing with like 2 friends, or even if it's just you and a buddy, I think that is going to be really useful. The problem is it falls flat against like Annihilation or the Root Mother, you know, that giant floating thing where we got the cordyceps on Yeisha, where it breaks the platforms around the arena. That boss is immune because it's just a death floor below it. The Flying Watcher's Eye boss, similar thing. I think it might also be a problem against, like, Talrotha. No, is it Talrotha? Let me see. Ring with the hands. Shahala, that's what it is. Shahala would be another one that's immune to it, and so it loses a lot of value. Otherwise, I think it's pretty solid. I'd like for there to be something to boost the duration of it. I also do like we got more levels. I really appreciate increasing the level cap. I would say I wish they would just do it all at once and be like, hey, if you're getting 20 extra levels per DLC, here's just the 60 off rip, do what you will. But I also get, by spacing it out, you can kind of scale difficulty a little more if you wanted, or it does kind of incentivize buying each DLC. If it's tied to that. I don't know, because getting this day one, I didn't really check and see if I was getting these extra levels before or not. Either way, I do like the extra levels. It lets these builds finally kind of flesh out and shore up a few issues that you couldn't really make up for in items or in teamwork. Oh, anything else off the top of my head? The environment, the bosses, weapons, items. I think that's about it. Like, there's, just thinking about weapons, there is the one that you have to travel everywhere and stuff. I think that's cool. I do like the kind of extra exploration of like, hey, there's a lot more to this than just everything is in this area. I do hope between DLCs we get another event like we did with Dwell and the new Aberration bosses. Just because the corrupted enemies are cool, and I always like seeing more of them. Oh, another thing with the weapon mod. I know I mentioned it last time, but this Ring of Spears just kind of sucks. I know I said it, but it is so particular, and realistically, if you want to use it at a decent rate, it needs more duration. Without an additional duration boost on it, which I think there's a ring that does it, but without duration, you get maybe 2 full spear throws and recalls, and that's if all you're doing is dedicating that. And using it here, as much as I love the firing range, is such a bad test bed, because some abilities don't proc on these dummies. You're not spending time like fighting and having to dodge and move around, burning precious seconds that you need to just whip spears. Actually, thinking of weapons, Abyssal Hook is okay. I don't like Stagger. I genuinely just don't like Stagger. I think it's kind of a waste, because if it's a matter of you should be using this at high difficulty, you're screwed. You should not be getting into melee at high difficulty, because enemies are just gonna beat you senseless. So giving you an item that's like, hey, do this, only works at low difficulty, and low difficulty, you're probably gonna just pummel those guys, or you really don't need it. The Ritualist Scythe, actually, let's test this, since we're standing here. Step further back. God, how much lunge does this have? Okay. Okay, so it looks like it's a 3 to 4 hit? 3 hit, I think? That's okay. I think the big thing here would be if you put Tainted Blade on it so that you can try to get the Corroded on. But that's only at 20%, so you have to get other sources to put more Corrosive on here. Increasing melee damage by 10% if the target is suffering from a negative status effect. It's good, but it's also limiting because it's only one status effect. I get it would be really broken if it was per status effect, because then, once again, Ritualist, pop your AoE, 4 stacks, 40% damage up, you're doing gross damage. But also, who cares? We'll have to wait and see. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.